My name is Dr. Todd Price. I have a 4-doctor veterinary practice in Upper Sandusky, Ohio.
I'm Dr. Brett Marsh, Indiana State Veterinarian at the Indiana State Board of Animal Health. Well, one of my primary concerns about the exhibitions is that we know that these pigs harbor influenza A viruses. So even pigs that are asymptomatic can harbor the virus. Therefore, we know it's in the pigs and can be shared with other pigs at the exhibition. We also know it can be shared to the exhibitors and fair goers. Conversely, if someone is ill with an influenza virus, they can share it with the pigs. So it works both ways. So it's one of my primary concerns that just people be aware that these viruses exist in the buildings, they're in the pigs, even in asymptomatic pigs, and just being aware that that potential is in the buildings when you visit these exhibitions.
Yes, actually 72-hour rule was started actually in the swine industry years ago. It came to the forefront during COVID time in Ohio. We adopted that when we started the OYLE, which was Ohio Youth Livestock Exposition. We used the 72-hour rule to get pigs in and get pigs out and turn it around as fast as we could between gilts and barrows and those kind of things. We actually did it for the sheep and the cattle as well.
Well, I think it's something that's important that is based in science. That we've been working with the Ohio State University and researchers there to say what is the appropriate time, since we know these viruses exist on the fairgrounds. And through their research, we found that if it's beyond 72 hours, the concentration of virus is much higher, and therefore to limit that period of time helps not only animal health, but public health as well. So it's based in science. It's something that we have recommended here in the state of Indiana and has been widely accepted in the buildings. But I think it's based fundamentally on the work that's been done here in Indiana and across the region to help protect pigs and people.
While pig shows are a great way to show people about the industry and to educate people on what goes on into raising pigs, there are some risks associated with pig shows. One specific concern is transmission of flu. Pigs are able to transmit flu from pig to pig and also to humans. People are also to blame in this cycle, since we can give flu back to pigs. Many flu cases have been linked to swine exhibitors. So what can we do to keep show pigs and people healthy and safe during a fair? Shows can follow the 72-hour rule. This rule is simple and effective and recommends only keeping the swine in the barns at a fair or exhibition for 72 hours or less to reduce the transmission of flu and other pathogens. The goal of this rule is to be able to interrupt the transmission cycle of influenza. A study conducted by The Ohio State University showed that the longer pigs are together at a fair or show, the more chances flu has to be passed between them. It has been found that at the end of the 7-day fair, nearly 100% of the pigs test positive, when only 2% of them came to the show with influenza. At 72 hours, only about 30% of the pigs may test positive. So by applying this rule, we can reduce the amount of flu to be spread between the pigs.
So it's hard to assess. The science says we need to do 72 hours, right? There haven't been enough fairs doing a 72-hour turn, but we do know that fairs that did the 72-hour turn didn't have any breaks, all right? And certainly the science tells us we should be doing a 72-hour turn because we know that influenza really explodes in that barn, in that pig barn, after 72 hours. And when that viral plume hits is when we can start to have humans get infected. So a couple of our ways, like at our O-Pig circuit, we encourage people to show off the trailer, keep their pigs separate from other pigs, take the pig off the trailer, walk them in, show them in the arena, and then walk them back out. That's not going to be practical for most county fairs, but certainly keeping them as separated as much as possible, keeping them in individual pens, keeping them comfortable, not stressing them, keeping plenty of food and water in front of them is going to help. And then obviously the biggest thing is the 72-hour rule.
Well, I think there's some other things we can do in addition. One is just education, communication with exhibitors and fairgoers, signage going into the buildings about the potential risk of going in the building, particularly those higher risk populations of people. Also, signage on the exit of the building saying be sure to wash your hands and having hand wash stations available that are functioning and available for people to use. We also, in exhibitions all across the country, have young people, infants, for example, and small children. So if there are pacifiers or sippy cups that fall to the floor, making sure that we're not putting things in children's mouths that may expose them. Not eating in the buildings, making sure that food service areas are away from the buildings. Not hosting the pizza party in the show ring, for example, and doing things that haven't unnecessarily exposed our exhibitors or fair goers.
Some other ways to keep swine safe at exhibitions is to change intake processings so the animals are not so close together while weighing in. Encourage frequent hand washing, discourage eating and drinking in the barns, educate exhibitors on influenza symptoms for both humans and animals.
Well, swine shows are an important part of our culture here in Indiana. They've been a part of our exhibition summers, where youth across our state and across the country have enjoyed time with their family and friends going to pig shows. It's also an opportunity for those who are not familiar with agriculture to become exposed to pigs, to see what that's about. It's critical for our young people to understand how to care for animals and how important they are for our overall well-being as a country and our economy.
So swine shows are important because I'm a true believer in 4-H and FFA. Young kids need to be in touch with livestock. Whether they're going to grow those livestock later on in life or not doesn't matter. They need to learn what it takes to take care of a living being. And I think that's extremely important for our young kids today. They learn management, they learn responsibility, and getting kids involved with pigs, I think, is a great process in how to do that. And it also trains, get some kids learning, maybe they might want to be a veterinarian someday. That's how I got started, or they might want to do something in production agriculture.